not going to get into my life, but I just say briefly, yes, all of us have been a shadow. We all have, there's a story to be written of all of us. Yeah, and before I came here, in another life, I worked in Wall Street for a while as an IT professional in New York. And there came a time in my life where the good Lord called me out of the concrete jungle of New York into the desert, the wilderness of the monastery. And here I've been for quite a while, enjoying the contemplative leisure of the contemplative life.
I noticed all the different, like some guys had on a smaller.
Yeah, by the way, did you get to see the film? Well, I think I saw some of it in the video today, right? Yeah, the video that goes about it. Yeah, when you enter, you feel a call, you feel that you have vocations, any life, especially religious life, there's a period of discernment. Before you enter the monastery, you first knock on the door and say, hey, excuse me, I think I'm interested in this life. Say, okay, all right, we check you out. And they go through a period of maybe 8 or 9 months of traveling back and forth, coming visits here and there, spend a week, like you retreat once in a while. And you get to meet people and they get to know you, and it's a discerning process. You helped to discern, is this for real that I'm hearing? And it's a process you go through, and very often during that period, let's say that first 8 or 9 months you're going through that, for every, let's say, 10 people that knock on the door and say I'm interested in life, after about, let's say, 10 months, if you have 2 people still persevering through that, then that's just the statistics. Maybe you might get 2 out of that that's still interested. So then you go on, and we invite you to come in and live the life for a while. It's called observership. That's the fellow with the small smock that you see. So he's here as an observer for a period of about 2 months, where he observed the life, he lived the life with us, pray with us, eat with us, work with us, and see if, this is for him. You get a better idea if it's for him. It's one thing looking from the outside when you come and live it. You got to see, hey, wait a minute, I don't know about this, 3:30 in the morning, every morning, this food these people eating, these guys don't eat fart. I thought saints didn't fart, they eat farts, And yeah, because I said it jokingly, but literally what happened is, and it happened to all of us here. You pick up a good spiritual book and you read about, some monk or some nun, some saintly person living a virtuous life. It sounds, I would say, a bit romantic. It's romanticized, and it's real, but yet you get a romantic perspective of it. And then when you enter the life, I think married life is the same thing too. Hey, married life is good, guy. Check it out. And then you go and you go through a courtship, and then you go do it, right? You jump in and say, all right, okay, and you have a nice honeymoon for about a year, right? And then after the honeymoon, life happens. Well, with this too, you go through that period, and when you enter the life, it may happen in the first 2 months of observership. After the observership, you go back out and live your normal life, and you come back, and then when you come out, we say, okay, you can enter as a person, a candidate, a real monk, but you're a novice for 2 years, where you have a long habit, all white. And then after that 2 years, of still discerning, 2 years after that, you begin to take vows, temporary vows, not permanent. Permanent is when you go to the altar, they put the ring and they say, till death do us part, that's permanent. But here it's like, till 3 years do we part. If you say you have 3 years, take and run, But in essence, what happens is this, there's a 2 out of 10 maybe still knocking on the door after 10 months or so. Let's take 10 people that we actually say, okay, you can come and enter the life. After a year, you'd be lucky if you got 2 out of the 10, because as you enter, you begin to see the reality of what it's like. The reality is that it's a bunch of human beings, like you and I, not something you imagine us to be, And some of us have bad breaths, and some of us fart, and some of us stink. You know, I mean, we have human qualities. You know, you cut me, I bleed. You know, but you don't see that when you think of these romanticized ideas. You know, but if you persevere through that, and basically what it is if God gave you the grace, if it's a real call, God gave you the grace for that, and if God gave you the grace for that life, then intuitively, it's like osmosis, you know, it comes as it goes, you know, it begins to click. You see, and the big lesson is you begin to realize that, hey, you know, it's a journey of becoming more human, a journey of entering deep into your own humanity, to the point where you go deeper into yourself, your own flesh. You know, you heard the term, you know, that such a person is, or that person seems like they're very comfortable in their flesh. Well, you become more comfortable in your flesh. Why? Because you grow in a deeper understanding and awareness, a deeper experience of your own humanity. Now the question is, define humanity. Humanity basically is that creature which was created by God. You know, this person. You know, part flesh, part spirit, a human being. God created three kinds of being, basically. One he created was all spirit, we call them angels, because they're all spirit. Another is all flesh, that's the dogs and the pigs and the goats and the cats, all flesh. But then he created this unique being, he called him human being. And what he did, he took some of this and some of that, some of the spirit and some of the flesh, and combine it, and you become a human being. And that's where we are, embodied spirits. But in that embodied spirit, and given all the great things that God gives us, like the freedom of free will, for example, and the power to be like Him, so to speak, empowering us, we are, in our humanity, we tend to draw towards our fleshy side. And our fleshy side, that's where we have all the bad things that happen to us. On the spirit side, that's where we have all these nice things happen to us. The spirit side, we try to, in our life journey from the womb all the way till death, is to grow deeper into the things of the spirit, as we hear in all through the gospel, and Paul talks about it. But in doing so, we grow deep in a deeper knowledge of the humanness of ourselves. In essence, God, the greatest thing that ever happened in the history of humanity is that the incarnation, God becoming man, God entering into our history, God becoming a human person. And Jesus Christ, we saw in His journey, is realizing the essence of God in our humanity. And this God, man, came to show us and teach us that, you know, don't look for God up there or in the pie in the sky. It's right here in my stuff. And it's to get deep in your stuff and find Him. And in doing so, you become deeper and deeper into the full awareness of our humanity. So that's what the journey is, basically becoming truly what God created us to be, His image and likeness. In doing so, of course, it's a long journey. And part of what you're doing here is you know, experiencing, learning, and sharing about the life of prayer, life of meditation, and all that comes with it, silence, solitude, and entering deeper into that interior journey where we whatever method we may use in working towards silencing the stuff, the noise, first the exterior noise, and then the interior noise. And in doing so, entering in that deep place within ourselves where when the thoughts are hushed, when all the movements are quieted, there we are exposed to listen to the divine that's within us. You talk about listening, and that's the aim, that's the goal of it all. And in doing so, we go through our stuff. So when I say stuff, I mean our own false feelings, whatever. And in doing so, we gain true knowledge of what we are before God, truly dependent on God. The poverty of spirit, true dependence on God. We gain in the understanding of our own utter weakness, human weakness. Without God, we are nothing. and therefore we throw ourselves at His mercy. In the monastic life, it's a journey, you know, from day one to the end, growing into deeper, not just knowledge about this utter weakness in our humanity, but the experience of it. When each day, when we enter into prayer, the whole exercise of prayer basically is going deeper inside into that place where we are experiencing our true dependence on God. It's like me worshiping you. I mean, it's like thou and I and thou, you know, and it was my place. My place is down here, true dependence in you. That's worship. But I'm talking too much. I'm sorry.
No,
it's great.
It's great.
Do you leave the campus at all?
I do, yes, we do occasionally. Doctor's visits, eye doctor, dentist, that type of thing. And some of us, like in my case, for business purposes, like today I had to run out this afternoon. Where I have to go? I forgot. Oh, you have to go out and pick up some boxes of calendars from the printer. You know, because part of what I do. But our life is a cloistered life, in the sense that when we enter here, you know, you enter a cloister. When you enter, you don't go back out. You know, and that's one of the biggest struggles of our life. Struggles in the sense of the most difficult for people to endure. We take vows when we enter this life. Some vows, permanent vows, we profess certain vows of poverty, chastity, obedience, conversion of manners, and there's another one called stability. Of all those vows that I just mentioned to you, poverty means basically no ownership of anything. You know, you give all that up. You know, I have not one thing that I own. Basically, it's the community. You know, this belongs to the community. I need a car to go down to town. I go and I sign a request. I get a car and I go into town. Obedience, basically, you give up your